It's very easy to sort of walk around thinking that you have everything together, but there's this deeper part of you that's just like, whoa. So it was this battle of starting to realize that I actually had grown so much and I had to find myself again, you know. It's a huge part of dealing with fear is actually taking responsibility that it's on me to change things if I don't like it. You know, if I'm scared, if I'm worried, if I think that all of these things are happening to me, maybe I should flip it and see what I can do.
And mortality is such a real thing. And using that as a driver, as you said, to embrace our fear, because the fear is just what's keeping us back from achieving our awesomeness and our greatness and connecting with us. Welcome everyone to the next episode of Ambition Meaning Success, and it will be our next episode in the alternative stream, and I'm joined here with Samantha Gorczyca, and my name is Jesse Dawson, and I'll be the host for today. And
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, very welcome. I'm very excited for this episode because this one's going to be a little bit different to the way we normally do something on the show. So we're going to be unpacking something that Samantha is going through and experiencing, and it's going to be very cool, and I'm excited. And we're going to do okay, so we're going to be talking about fear, and you've had a bit of fear come up in your life recently, and it's showing up for you. So why don't you fire away and tell us how it's showing up for you?
Yeah, so essentially this journey and this lesson sort of started with me right before my trip to Peru, which was in December of last year. I lost someone very close to me about 2 weeks before my trip, and it sort of just brought up this fear that I'd never experienced before, this fear of mortality. And because I'd never had anybody pass away that close to me, and so it made me question a lot of the things in my life and whether I could do them and what was the point. And
what's the point? I've asked myself that a few times.
It's insane. It's something that we as humans tend to push to the back of our mind and ignore because it doesn't seem, it's scary. You know,
it's not present either.
No, it's not. It's very easy to sort of walk around thinking that you have everything together, but there's this deeper part of you that's just like, whoa, okay, questioning everything. And then, you know, going away by myself, getting on a plane for the first time in my life.
Pretty big.
To South America, which, you know, everybody who spoke to me about it said, you know, you're going to get kidnapped, you're going to get killed, all of this ridiculous sort of stuff. People who had never actually been to that country.
And never travelled by themselves.
No, exactly. So quite ironic. However, it got to me. It got to me because I started listening to them because I had no other frame of reference.
You had no reference point for anything else.
No inner sort of centre to actually go back to and say, you know what, no, I know. I know I'm going to be okay. And it was a 3-month sort of journey, which is still continuing on to coming back to Australia now. And there's probably one moment that was really significant in that, and it was during a silent meditation retreat towards the end of it, where I had this profound meditation in which I sort of went into my heart space and I looked at the fear version of myself. I looked in this mirror and there was me staring back at me. However, it was the fear version of myself.
The fear version, that's awesome.
And she was scared and she was hidden and all of this sort of anxiety, I could just feel it. And so I knew at that moment that I had two choices. I could wish the mirror away or I could take her by the hand. And sort of I just made a decision to take her out of the mirror and hug her and say, you know, it's okay, I'm here for you, we're going to do this together. And that was the moment where I realized you cannot escape fear. You cannot get away from it.
It's not it doesn't, you don't overcome it and then it just disappears forever. It's ongoing. It's ongoing.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. You're like, I'm going to get through this hard thing and then I'll be done with fear.
It'll be gone, fear will go.
Yeah, exactly. However, it's just, I'm really starting to realize that it never goes away. So you have to, subjectively, I mean, everybody experiences reality differently. However, for me, you have to become friends with your fear. Because you can work together.
I agree.
Yeah, you can really work together. And that's when the magic sort of starts to happen because you're listening to your fear and you're sort of understanding where that's coming from. You're not afraid to delve into those darker parts of yourself.
Yeah, and I think as well, being that it was your first trip alone,
Yeah.
and that as you said, you have no reference point outside of your previous travels or anywhere, you've done something before by yourself.
Yeah.
So then I could understand that would be very, very strong for you at that time, and then having all this chattering of all these other people in your head, and having no reference point, it could be quite a big experience, quite an a high energy experience, I could say. I don't want to language your experience for you.
Yeah, it's
and then just being in this meditative space and a mindset, which meditation's great, by the way.
Yeah, get on that.
And being able to objectively view a portion of you as it's being, instead of it being part of you, and you can deal with that as if it was another person.
Exactly.
I think that's amazing. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to dive into there in terms of that meditation?
Well, I guess, you sort of sprung up something as well. It really, it's easy to give other people advice rather than take your own. And so viewing that fear part of myself objectively, it actually enabled me to sort of look at her, myself, and it's sort of that separation. like my inner child sort of thing, just like a part of you that actually just needs to be supported, because the more you fear your fear, the more it actually manifests within your life.
That's right. You end up being held back by not the thing that's scaring you, but the idea of fear itself.
Exactly.
Instead of the thing that created the fear.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the most interesting thing is to note now for myself is that it's not just like I had that meditation and bam, all right. It's cool.
I'm good. I just get up and I'm ready to tackle it.
No, it's more prominent. It's more prominent in my day-to-day life.
Yeah, exactly. It would
because it's on the surface. I've allowed that fear to come on the surface and really work with her,
That's right. And it's okay to feel fear as well. That's
it's a
huge.
Motivator.
A lot of people are afraid to feel fear because they think it's bad, or or whatever word they want to use with it, or it's overwhelming, or whatever word.
Yeah.
And fear is, to me anyway, fear is a tool to show you where you're going to grow. That's my opinion of where fear is. Fear and resistance and the things that scare you the most are where you're going to grow the most.
Exactly.
And that's how I measure it. It feels like my best friend.
It
really shows me where I can grow.
It tests you more than anything ever will, and it's because it's a part of you. It's a part of you. It's like pushing you to show you, okay, where are these areas of your life that you need to work on that scare you the most, and that actually shows you where your potential lies. The things that we fear the most are often the best for us.
Exactly.
The best to deal with. So it's quite the lesson.
Yeah, that's right. So just coming out of that meditation, if you've done the meditation, you did the rest of your trip in Peru, which I'm sure was amazing, and I would love to go myself, and then you came back to Australia, and then how did it continue showing up after you'd left there, gone through this huge transformational period? Sure it was. And then you come back and landed back at home, and then it didn't go away. And then how was that? Yeah,
so the moment of coming back was actually quite hard. It was months before I started feeling, I don't think I ever felt myself again. I don't know what that really means to me.
Whatever myself is.
Whatever myself is, because I had grown so much in this period that...
And it's all you as well.
Yeah, it is all... Exactly. And just because it wasn't familiar,
It was familiar.
And familiar to a lot of people around me. So it was this battle of starting to realise that I actually had grown so much, and I had to find myself again, find what this fire was inside of me and use it and follow through with it. All these lessons that I learned was like, okay, you've learnt these lessons, however, can you apply them to your life? Are you too scared to apply them to your life? And, I guess I sort of am still grappling with that now. However, I think recently I've decided to take a leave of absence from university for studying my master's.
Yeah, cool.
And that
was
and that was the hardest thing, to sort of come to terms with the fact that that's okay. I have to...
Perfectly okay.
Yeah, I have to be comfortable with what I'm doing. I want to be passionate and I want to be driven, and I have to listen to my mind and my body when it tells me it's not the right time.
Yeah.
So there's that fear of expectations of everybody else on top of you. So what everybody else thinks that you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Am I just an academic?
That's right. In this world that we've built ourselves in this in this reality that we have to have a job and a house and family and all the things that we should have that don't fulfill us when we're not fulfilled within ourselves. Exactly. And then doing the things that people are expecting us to do, like study and completely study. Yeah. I never completed my study. Like, who cares about study? Yeah. And then you go out and you do what your heart says. Yeah. And that means so much more than any piece of paper that could ever give you anything. Exactly. Following what your heart says and what you inside tells you. So how's that playing out for you now? Like, now that you've decided that?
Like, wonderfully. Like, I have the time to actually delve into that, because I never actually had a second to breathe when I returned from Peru. I went straight into my master's 2 days after I got back. And so having a second to breathe and remember all those lessons and spend more time on my creative side, on working on myself, and it's a whole different world for me, because I'm figuring out who I am when I'm not a title, you know?
Yeah, when you're not a title.
Yeah.
And then now that you've done this, the fear's still there though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The fear, if anything, it's there more.
It's there more, definitely. More. Am I doing the right things? Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. And then again, really linking it back to where you feel that fear is where you can grow, and then the fact that the fear is more, there's more growth there.
Exactly.
And that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other lessons that you've learnt in this journey so far around fear itself, and like a gift that you could give to the people out there so far?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose one main thing is fear sort of tells us, in my experience, fear sort of tells us that not knowing, that staying in this box is better, you know, that we know everything that's inside this tiny little box. We can see it, we can feel it, we can touch it, it's real to us.
Yeah, it's true.
And that everything around that is vast, it's unknown, however it's also filled with possibilities, and that's the only place where growth lies.
You can't, so well said.
You can't grow inside of this box that we've created for ourselves. Maybe it's comfortable. How long do you want to be comfortable for? Would you rather be accomplished, proud, growing, or would you rather be comfortable? You know, and I think for me now, I'm deciding that comfortable's okay for a day, but I want to be way more than that. And I'm sure that, you know, a lot of people can relate to that being comfortable is okay. However, being uncertain and being, you know, vulnerable is actually so much more rewarding. It's so much more rewarding.
It is so much more. And I remember a time when I thought vulnerability was a place of weakness and a place of,
I did too.
of not power, opposite of power, and it's uncontrollable and all the things. And sure, vulnerability can be uncertain, and so can everything else in life. Yeah. It is like a place of power. It's a place of, I think I've said this in a previous episode, it's might be up, might not be up, who knows. And I've said that it's a place where you're able to mold you, because you're just the clay there, and you can just make whatever you want out of you and choose any choice and have any decision you want to make when you're in just true vulnerability. Yes. Yeah. And you're able to go in any direction because you're just at your core. Yeah. And it's just all of this material shit just gone, all the expectations and of yourself and others and what you expect of others and all the blah 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 blah, it's all gone, because in that moment you're just raw, and in that raw state you're able to just go in any direction that there is. And it's not something that I would encourage anyone to push away, because it's eventually being comfortable becomes uncomfortable, and your comfort that you feel of being the same and staying the same and doing the job and all that, you get boredom, and there's all these other things that come with it, and being comfy then becomes uncomfy because you can't, it's not sustainable to stay in that place anymore. Yeah, exactly. You're not growing, and if you're not growing, you're dying. It's literally it. And then that's when you have to, you know, embrace some vulnerability and tackle it head on. And then you blossom into this new thing, and it's amazing, and oh my god, just do it.
And it's not easy, you know. I think
it's not easy. No.
It's so much easier said than done. However, you know, having the strength to take that first step it might not be comfortable. It might not feel like, hooray, I'm reborn from the get-go. I think that's what people tried and they get scared and come back.
Yeah, the first couple of steps I think are the scariest ones as well, because you're leaving the thing that you knew and you're breaking into that new thing.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest part, because you have no idea. Once you're kind of out there, you're already in the water, you're already swimming. Exactly. And you're kind of going and you're like, yeah, this is where I'm going. It's still uncertain and still scary. And all the things you want to say about it.
Yeah.
But the first couple steps are like the highest resistance steps, because that's when you're about to grow the most.
Definitely. So, yeah. That's when that fear really steps in around you, because it's your ego.
It's your ego.
It wants
keep you safe
and
comfy.
But I mean, I never thought that I would sort of be this close with my fear, and I never thought about it that way. I never actually considered it at all.
Yeah.
It was just sort of sitting right here.
It's just hidden away behind.
Yeah, definitely. And now that you can consciously acknowledge, take that first step and listen. Like, what is that part of my brain telling me? What is my mind resisting, and why?
Yeah, why? Yeah, not just having the awareness to then figure out what reason it's present for, and if it's a resourceful or an unresourceful thing, and figure out where to make the change.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's huge. Yeah. So now that we've gone through, your life story, how is fear showing up for you now in the present, and where you're going with what you're doing? You've left school, you've deferred school, I should say, and now you're tackling your creative side, wherever that takes you.
Yeah.
Well, how's it showing up for you now?
Yeah, so essentially with my position now, I can sort of step out of my ego enough to admit that, I don't entirely know. And
that's awesome.
And that's awesome. For the first time, I don't really have a plan. I know that, I want to travel next year. I know sort of the kind of steps I want to take to get there, and I know why. I want to learn more about the world, and I want to kind of, create my own perception before I go back and study and write theses about terrorism. I don't know anything about that. I need to get some life actual experience for myself.
And reference.
Yeah, and that fear is showing up so much there, because you sort of, there's that, who am I to say?
Who am I? Yeah, that's a big plan.
Yeah, exactly. Who am I to sort of pull this off? And, it's for me, it's hard. It's definitely hard to always be sure of myself, and for everyone, for everyone it is.
Yeah, it's very unfamiliar at first.
Yeah.
It can be very challenging, and it can be confronting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you do confront it and you do meet that barrier, and then you are like, oh, fuck the barrier.
Yeah.
and then you step across the line, it's just like your path just becomes clearer.
Yeah.
Every step you take, it's just clearer and clearer. And then this big vision that you had, you're towards the end, and you're like, wow, that was such a journey. And now I want to go to here, and it's just another step and another step. So I can't wait to see what comes from this journey that you're on.
Definitely.
In the long run.
Yeah.
So where are you planning on traveling?
Well, I want to go to Europe. So my family's originally from Poland, so I want to visit them, and I want to sort of travel around that area, a different part of the world that I haven't experienced since I was about 15.
Yeah, cool.
So sort of see it as an adult now, and just kind of get lessons from that, and maybe job opportunities from that as well. That's the thing, is that with fear and with pushing yourself to grow, you don't always know. You don't always know where you're going or what the outcome is going to be. And that's sometimes better, because you're not limiting yourself. The fear's always going to be there. However, if you don't really know where you're going, you can't succumb to that entirely.
That's right.
You can actually put yourself out there more, because you don't know what's going to happen.
It's an open door thing.
Yeah.
You're throwing yourself into uncertainty, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what can come from that.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you don't know what can come from that as well. So it's literally opening. It's like asking yourself an open-ended question.
Yeah, it is.
And you just can go anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
And trusting, we speak about this all the time, however, trusting and surrendering to whatever would happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Not trying to control it.
Big. It's really big.
Yeah, it's huge. And being okay with the outcome. I think,
that's
a lot of what fear comes from is, the fear of not being able to handle whatever life throws at you.
Right. Yeah.
And that's
being
what it
okay
boils
with where
down
you're
to. Yeah.
That's really
and
cool.
yeah, we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a while to unlearn it, to think that you're supposed to be the best at something, or you know, be on this certain path because that's what, you know, you saw someone else do, or
exactly.
that looks cool.
Exactly, is that what aligns with you inside? And then if it doesn't, then you don't take the path. The answer is, will this get me to X where I want to go? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, you don't do it. And if the answer is yes, you do it. That's as simple as that. That's the answer. Yes, that's the question you ask. Will this help me connect back with me? Will this help me, you know, create a sustainable career? Will this, whatever the thing is that you're doing? And then if the answer is yes, you do it. You just do it. Yeah. And embrace the fear. It's not there to kill you. The fear is your ego trying to keep you safe from being more than you. Because your ego only knows a certain amount of things, and when you throw it into something it has no reference point of, it just freaks out, goes into survival mode and tries to keep you safe. And, you know, it's like, don't do that, you're going to die. But realistically, you're just crossing the street, and you know logically, I'm not going to die, there's no cars. But the ego's like, I got no idea. You're going to die if you cross that road. It's going to be a saber-toothed tiger. It's going to jump out of the bush. It's going to kill you. And that's just how it works. In embracing the fear and taking the next step, it's just infinite opportunity. And I think that's really cool for them to take home, I reckon.
Yeah. It's a natural thing as well. Fear is always going to be there. It's a natural part of our lives, and, you know, the sooner we start to sort of question that, you know, where is the fear stemming from? Is there actually a saber-toothed tiger possibly on the road? That's right. You got to ask yourself, is there really a saber-toothed tiger there? Or am I just being silly? Like, that's the question.
Water, H2O is good for you.
It is, yep.
So what I was going to say was, I had a real good question there. It was, no, it's gone. Just don't even worry about it.
Don't even give it a second thought.
Don't even worry about it. Fear coming in and being our friend is really key. Like, reframing it and it being not something from a negative and putting it into a positive is a real it's a game changer, I think.
Game changer,
and if we link that back to what you said in the beginning about how we often put our blinkers on about mortality and how we can die, like that's a real thing. It's a real thing.
That
Any
should
moment
be a motivator, actually.
we can die. It's that serious. We feel safe because we've built this reality of what you go to work, you drive there, you come home, you got your family, you blah blah blah. Any moment you can die, because animals don't have that, and they live in our world. The animals live where we reside, and they're on guard all the time because they know that they can die at any moment. They're always in survival mode. And we just kid ourselves to think that we're not in that area, and mortality is such a real thing. And using that as a driver, as you said, to embrace our fear, because the fear is just what's keeping us back from achieving our awesomeness and our greatness and connecting with us, and embracing that and diving into the next level of you, or the next version of you, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's a real gift, to be able to have the awareness to jump into that and do that.
It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And being conscious of mortality, which I never was, it was easy for me to cruise and just do the bare minimum, because you don't have that sense of urgency. And sometimes that sense of urgency is actually beautiful, because you're aware of how precious your life actually is, and that you're only here at this time as you once. You know?
You're gonna get one shot.
Exactly. Being this incarnation, it's just you, and you have to sort of take the bull by the horns and use every single moment, squeeze the juice out of every opportunity you get, because the universe presents you with opportunities every single day. Whether you choose to take it or whether you choose to shut the door, that's your decision, and that's on you, you know, and each to their own. However, being able to go for it because you're aware that this is your only shot, that's a motivator, and that's what should get you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And you touched on a thing that one of my mentors says, and it's genius, and it's brilliant, and I love it. And he says, you're either squeezing life, or life is squeezing you.
That's very true.
And you either choose to squeeze life and get the juice out of life, or life will squeeze the juice out of you. And I've been there. I've been in a place where life was squeezing me, and it was just suffering, it was just unhappiness, it was everything you could imagine that was bad. It was just, I just blamed everyone. I was never responsible for anything I did, and I was just letting my life be sucked out of me.
Yeah.
And then I decided one day, a couple of years ago now, that I want to start squeezing life, and it's brought me here, and now I'm here and I'm having such awesome conversations with people, and it's just because I embraced that fear, and I took those steps, and now fear is an indicator of the direction I need to go in, instead of a deterrent, instead of a block or whatever you want to call it.
That's really cool as well, because you've taken responsibility. That's a huge part of dealing with fear, is actually taking responsibility that it's on me to change things if I don't like it. You know, if I'm scared, if I'm worried, if I think that all of these things are happening to me, maybe I should flip it and see what I can do.
Yeah, how cool is that?
It's cool. It's so cool. Like, there's nothing more empowering than taking responsibility for your own shit, because it's on you. At the end of the day, you can't blame anyone. Nobody's living your life. You know, people can influence you. Don't get me wrong. I don't, say that you can't be influenced by others. However, it's your choice how you react to it, how you choose to let that influence your higher self.
Yeah, that's really deep. That's really deep. I love it.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that has been a very good conversation so far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I think we are hitting the time limit of the episode.
Quick.
How quick is it, huh? Every conversation is just like, I got to keep checking, otherwise we're in for an hour, and I don't even know. I have to do a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
So I will wrap it up here, and you guys out there, if you know someone who would benefit from this discussion about fear and how it shows up in someone's life that isn't me, who you're usually listening to, you can share it with them if they need it. Share it with whoever you think could benefit from the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page, and put your email in the website so you can stay up to date with everything that we're doing. And the Instagram, follow the Instagram too.
Do it all.
And I'm very looking forward to what comes out of your journey in your next year. That's going to be really cool. And I'm sure we can maybe touch base again in that time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And see the contrast of where it's been. So that's really cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. See you guys later.
Thank you.